Okay, so it seems like there's been a little bit of an update to this whole situation going on with the Cantarella kind of censorship going on in Wuthering Waves. Now, if you don't know, in my last video, I actually covered this and I talked about it. Again, it was something that was like a kind of like not that big of a deal, but it was something that a lot of people were very angry about. And well, I think this is kind of like moved on to something else. And there's a couple of points I kind of wanted to bring up in this video because I thought it was very interesting to just like kind of add some extra points to what is going on. And also there is another case of Wuthering Waves actually censoring some other characters in the game, which again has a lot of players kind of confused and some of them kind of angry. But let's just get into it. Let's see what's happening. So obviously, yes, the first one with Cantarella, they actually changed one small detail, as you can see down here, being her, camel toe area, which again is kind of crazy. And obviously, yeah, they kind of just smoothed it out, and they had to change that up. Now, I saw one like ongoing theory of what was actually going on was the fact that obviously recently as well we had the age rating change up to 16 plus for Wuthering Waves. Obviously it used to be 12, I'm pretty sure. And well, I think what has actually happened here, or what some people were speculating, is that it actually got bumped up to a 16 plus by some regulators, and these are some kind of things that Wuthering Waves are doing to try and get this to come down a little bit so that they can get it back to a 12. Now that might not be the case, and maybe Wuthering Waves are going to go full 16 plus or go down that route, which again would be really, really nice, but we don't really know what is actually going on at the moment, and Wuthering Waves haven't actually issued an official response or anything like that. They've just made these changes and people have just noticed them. Now obviously there's a lot of people as well spreading misinformation saying that these were mods. Now some of them might be mods to kind of enhance it maybe so you can see it a little bit better, but I think mainly this is just the game. It was even pointed out at the start, but also I don't think it is that obvious of a detail that some that's why some people are calling it a mod, because they never even realized it was there in the first place. And that kind of goes into another point which I'm going to bring up in a little bit, which people are getting annoyed at. So obviously, yeah, we've already gone through this in the past video, but we also have another example of this happening, I'm pretty sure at the exact same time, which was the Fleurdelys boss. Now the Fleurdelys boss, as you can see here, they've put some like shorts on her now, which again is kind of crazy. And obviously people were going absolutely crazy over Fleurdelys whenever she first came out, because as you can see before, it was it wasn't exactly shorts. I wouldn't really know what you describe it, like maybe it's kind of like underwear, I guess. I don't really know, but again, they've changed it up so it's like more shorts and they cover more of the leg, which again I don't think it's the end of the world either. It's a boss, like let's be real. I know a lot of people have been going up to the boss and like taking in detail looks at them, but at the end of the day it doesn't really matter that much. And also Fleurdelys isn't actually a playable character. Fleurdelys is a boss, and I think at the end of the day it's just like not that big of a deal. But yeah, there's people obviously freaking out about over that. It's got 3.2 thousand upvotes. It says I will start war for this. Obviously there's a lot of people that are joking in the community. I just want to point that out. Obviously some people are really like, okay, right, time to quit, time to start war, time to do this. Obviously they are joking. They don't actually mean they're going to quit the game over something as small as this. But there has been some people in the community that have been getting very angry with the censorship and threatening to leave and stuff like that, which is kind of crazy. They say, what are these censorships after 16 plus rated? Are they trying to go back to 12 plus? Which genuinely could be a reason. We don't know. Obviously Kuro Games haven't said anything, but it could genuinely be a reason why this has happened, is because of the fact that they've gone up to 16 plus and that they want to go back down to a 12 plus, which yeah is definitely viable. And people are putting their reactions in the comments saying worst update ever, everything like that. People saying what annoys me is that we don't even get communication from Kuro, which is kind of annoying. I think it would have been really nice if Kuro Games would have just like put out a message on their Wuthering Waves page, something like that, or even just in a patch notes thing, be like, hey guys, we just had to change this because of some age rating issues. And I think people would have had less of an issue, rather than like people just finding out in game and being like, what the hell is going on? It's the end of the world. Cantarella doesn't have this one detail, which yeah, I think that is why some people are so annoyed. Now obviously another reason why people are so annoyed is mainly to do with Cantarella and the fact that she's a playable character. Now I don't think it's the end of the world. Maybe you think it's the end of the world. Maybe some other people really deeply enjoyed the fact that Cantarella has that detail on her character design, but honestly I feel like it's not that big of a deal. And people are like saying that, oh, she's a playable character, and that Kuro Games have edited a playable character, meaning that they've kind of gone against their rule of, you know, the fact that, you know, people were pulled on this, spent money on the character, and they've ended up with this, you know, they've ended up with this change, which would be understandable if it was some massive big cosmetic change. But let's be real, this is tiny. This is a tiny change. And there's also one bit of information that someone actually posted to r/Wuthering Waves, which kind of clears up a lot of this stuff, being the terms of service of Wuthering Waves. Whenever you sign up to Wuthering Waves, you agree to this, by the way. Obviously no one reads it, but it says, we reserve the right to modify, manage, control, or delete virtual items, including the pricing at our discretion. You acknowledge and agree to your virtual items may change as a result of our service improvement or for some regulatory or law related reasons. We may take action at any time which may affect the perceived value or purchasing price, if applicable, of the virtual items, unless otherwise required by Apple laws. So there is literally a thing in the TOS saying, hey, you know, we're allowed to make changes. You know, you've accepted that, and a lot of the people that have, you know, been like kind of complaining about the fact that they changed the character halfway through, you accepted that too. So you went into the game knowing that, you know, this is a factor. Obviously, yes, a lot of people don't know, and because they don't read the TOS, but that's not, you know, Kuro Games' fault. They put that in there. They put that in there for a reason, for stuff like this, because they even say, for some regulatory bodies, you know, that is one of the reasons why they, you know, could change a virtual item, is the fact that it's getting regulated by these age rating companies or whatever. And, you know, we're seeing it firsthand right here. Now, obviously someone says nobody reads the TOS, but let's be real here. You know, what are they supposed to do? Are they supposed to go, hey guys, we just want to make it clear in the announcement of the video game, of it coming out, that we're going to change it, you know, over time, or we could change it over time? No. They put it in the TOS to let everyone know, and if you want to read the TOS, you can. If not, you don't want to. And I think that's like, I think it's totally fair, the fact that it's been there all this time and that they've, you know, actually used it. I think it's fair enough, you know. Obviously, yes, some people haven't read it and they're not very, you know, happy, but hey, it doesn't matter. They say, obviously it's due to some regulation, then it's fine and all, but don't flash the terms around acting like it's the sacred gospel. Which, yeah, that's true. It's a lot of people here and on Twitter are losing their over something that a government official most likely ordered them to remove. It's silly. They literally have no choice, which, yeah, I think that's totally true. I feel like Kuro Games might not have a choice here in terms of, you know, adding these kind of censorship features to these characters. I'm sure that Kuro Games, you know, having added this in the first place, do want this kind of, you know, features to be added to these characters while keeping the same age rating, but I don't think that's just going to work, which again, is fine. And honestly, I feel like a lot of people are blowing this way out of proportion of how bad this is, because it's not that bad. It's really not that bad. Now, obviously, yeah, there's been some people online as well going after people who have been getting angry at this, because again, there's one thing of like it being pretty cringe for someone to get angry at such a small detail like this, but it's also another really cringe thing to be saying, you know, getting angry at the people getting angry. It's like, brother, we don't need to be getting that angry at people that wanted a change in a character design. Yeah, now, yes, if they're spreading misinformation, sorry, and they're kind of like saying all of this stuff, then yeah, maybe, you know, you can get angry at them. But honestly, at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter. And obviously, with all of these kind of bits of evidence behind us, I think it's very clear to see that it's really not the end of the world, and that Wuthering Waves are actually just trying to adhere to some, you know, regulatory stuff, and, you know, it's something to do with a law-related reason, more than likely. And it's not just because Wuthering Waves are planning on changing every single character up later on after launch, but this is definitely something to keep in mind for the future as well, for future characters that come out, or even previous characters that might need some changes. I don't think any of the current characters that are out at the moment do need any changes, but obviously a lot of people are speculating that like with Zany coming out very, very soon, that they might alter her button or something like that, and it might be the end of the world, because, you know, first they did it to, you know, Cantarella, now Fleurdelys. They're going to hit Zany next, and, you know, people are very worried about that. But honestly, I don't think that's going to happen. I feel like, you know, that is a different kind of situation. Obviously, Cantarella's design was very fan servicey in the beginning. The same with Fleurdelys, by the way. You know, Fleurdelys looked absolutely crazy, and I don't think they're going to be playable, but, you know, I think a lot of players are wishing they're going to be playable. But again, honestly, you know, people saying that they're gonna, you know, start war and stuff over this are a little bit stupid, obviously. And people, you know, getting angry, a lot of the people getting angry at this are also stupid too. Let's just enjoy the game. Let's just accept the fact that Wuthering Waves had to change some stuff due to terms of service, due to some laws, due to some regulatory stuff, and just move on, because again, it's really not that big of a deal. But hopefully that keeps you guys up to date with everything that is going on, and, you know, what the overall situation is, because it seems like it has been getting a little bit confusing among a lot of people of like you know, why they've actually done this. Some people think they've done this for some weird predatory reason. It's not. You know, it's more than likely, I'm going to say it's more than likely due to a law reason or a regulatory reason. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and also go to GameStop, use my code CASO, get 10% off. Again, very crazy situation, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. And also let me know down in the comments what you guys think about this. So yeah, see ya.